Picture New York in the late 19th century. Now strip away everything you think you know about it. No bright lights, no clean sidewalks, no sense of order. Fill it instead with bodies, endless bodies. More than 1 million people packed into a space never meant to hold them. Families stacked on top of families. Strangers breathing the same air, sleeping inches apart, living entire lives inside rooms barely larger than closets. The air itself feels heavy, not just warm, but thick, layered. Coal smoke drifting in from factory chimneys, rotting garbage left in the streets for days, human waste leaking from broken pipes or simply thrown into alleys. Sweat everywhere. Always sweat. This is where you are. Not visiting, not observing, living. Your eyes open slowly, but not to light, to darkness. A grey kind of darkness, thick with heat. For a moment, just a second, you don't remember where you are. Then it comes back to you all at once. The smell. It hits before anything else. Not one smell, but many, stacked on top of each other. Old cabbage boiled too many times. Damp fabric that never fully dries. The sour edge of unwashed bodies. Something sharper underneath something you don't want to identify. You breathe anyway. You have to. You shift slightly, and the mattress beneath you creaks. Not a real mattress. Straw stuffed into a rough sack, flattened by too many nights, too many bodies. Something crawls along your arm. You brush it away without looking. Bedbugs. You stopped reacting weeks ago. Around you, people are still asleep. You can hear them before you see them. Soft breathing. Someone snoring. A child coughing that dry, persistent cough that never quite goes away. It echoes in the small room like a warning. There are 8 of you in here. 8 people in a space meant for maybe 3. You turn your head slightly. A man lies inches from you, his back rising and falling slowly. You don't know his full name. You share the room, sometimes the bed, but not much else. Privacy is something you used to have, something that belonged to another life. The window is cracked open, but it doesn't help. No breeze comes through, just more smell. The alley below is worse than the room, and the air carries it upward. You sit up carefully. The ceiling is low, close enough that if you stood too fast, you might hit your head. The walls are stained layers of time, and used pressed into the wood and plaster. You can see where water has seeped through, leaving dark trails like veins. This is your home now, a tenement on the Lower East Side. One of hundreds, maybe thousands. All of them the same. All of them filled beyond capacity, stretching upward, because there's nowhere else to go. You swing your legs over the side of the bed. Your feet touch the floor. It's not cold. It's never cold this time of year. The wood feels slightly damp, slightly sticky, like it never quite dries. You don't think about what's soaked into it. You learned early not to ask questions you don't want answered. Someone shifts behind you, a woman older, muttering in her sleep. Another cough, this one worse. You stand slowly. Your clothes are where you left them, or rather, where you dropped them. A shirt that used to be white, trousers worn thin at the knees. You pull them on without thinking, movements automatic now. There's a small basin in the corner. You step toward it, dipping your fingers into the water. It's lukewarm, slightly cloudy. You splash your face anyway. The shock isn't refreshing. Not really. But it wakes you up enough. Outside, the city is already stirring. You can hear it through the walls before you even reach the door. Wheels scraping against uneven streets. Voices loud, competing with each other. A shout. Another. Someone arguing. Someone laughing. The city never really sleeps. It just changes tone. You move toward the door, careful not to step on anyone. That takes practice. You've learned where people tend to lie, how to move through the room without waking them. Another small skill this place has taught you. The hallway outside is darker than the room. No windows, no proper light. You step into it anyway, one hand brushing the wall to guide yourself. The wood is rough beneath your fingers, worn smooth in places by years of use. Generations of hands, all doing the same thing. Down the hall, a door creaks open. A man steps out, nods at you once. No words. There's no need. You both know where you're going. Down. The stairs are narrow, steep. They twist slightly, just enough to make each step uncertain if you're not paying attention. You've seen people fall. Broken arms. Worse. You take them carefully. One floor, then another. With each level, the sounds grow louder. By the time you reach the bottom, it's already a roar. The door to the street opens with a push, and suddenly you're outside. If the room was suffocating, the street is overwhelming. It hits you all at once. Movement. Everywhere. People passing so close you feel the brush of fabric against your arm. Carts rolling by, wheels rattling over stone. Horses tired already, pulling loads that seem too heavy. Vendors shouting over each other, each voice trying to be louder than the last. The air is no better out here. Different but not better. Less trapped maybe, but filled with new smells. Fresh bread from a cart nearby. Fish laid out on ice that's already melting. Horse manure. Always horse manure. It sits in piles, gets trampled, spreads into the dirt. You step forward, joining the flow. There's no space to hesitate. If you stop, you get pushed. If you slow down, you get shouted at. So you move. That's the first rule you learned. Keep moving. A boy runs past you, barefoot, weaving through the crowd like it's nothing. He doesn't look back. He doesn't need to. This is his world. A woman stands beside a cart, piled high with apples calling out prices. Her voice is sharp, practiced. She locks eyes with passers-by, pulling them in for just a second. Sometimes that's enough. You don't stop. Not today. You don't have money to spare. A wagon rattles past close enough that you instinctively step aside. The driver barely glances at you. He doesn't need to. The street belongs to whoever is bold enough to take space. You've learned that too. You walk faster. The city stretches out around you, block after block of the same thing. Buildings rising up, stacked with life. Windows open laundry hanging out to dry fabric, fluttering weakly in the heavy air. Somewhere above, someone empties a bucket. You hear it before you see it. A splash. A shout from below. You don't look up. Another rule. Don't look up. You keep walking. Your destination isn't far, but distance doesn't matter here. What matters is the path. Navigating the crowd. Avoiding trouble. Knowing when to step aside and when to push through. You're getting better at it. That's the strange thing. A few months ago, this would have terrified you. The noise, the closeness, the unpredictability of everything. Now it feels almost familiar, not comfortable, but manageable. You turn a corner, slipping between two carts without breaking stride. The street here is narrower somehow, even more crowded. A cluster of men argue loudly over something you can't quite catch. Their voices overlap, sharp and fast. You move past them. You don't get involved. Another rule. As you walk, the city reveals itself in fragments. A child, sitting on a doorstep, watching everything with wide eyes. A man hauling a sack over his shoulder, muscles straining. A woman counting coins carefully, lips moving as she checks and rechecks. Everyone is doing the same thing, trying to make it through the day. You feel it too. That quiet pressure beneath everything. Not panic, not exactly fear. Something steadier. The understanding that nothing here is guaranteed. Not work, not food, not safety. Every day has to be earned. You take another breath. The air is still heavy, still full of things you'd rather not think about. But it fills your lungs anyway. You're still here. That counts for something. Ahead, the street bends again, disappearing into more noise, more movement, more of the same relentless life. You don't stop. You step forward and let the city carry you with it. You don't notice the sun rising. Not really. It's somewhere above you, beyond the narrow slice of sky trapped between buildings. But down here on the street, it barely matters. The light filters in, weakly broken by walls swallowed by smoke, diluted by the sheer density of everything. Morning exists, but it doesn't feel like a beginning. It feels like continuation. The crowd thickens as you move deeper into the street. What was already crowded becomes something else entirely. Bodies pressing closer, voices louder, movement more urgent. This is where the day truly begins. You step aside just in time as a pushcart swings toward you. The man pulling it doesn't slow down, doesn't apologize. He couldn't even if he wanted to. There's no space for it. The cart is stacked high with goods, pickles in barrels, sloshing with cloudy brine. The sharp, sour smell cuts through everything else for a moment, almost refreshing compared to the heaviness of the air. Pickles. Fresh. Pickles. The man shouts, his voice already hoarse from repetition. Another voice cuts in immediately. Bread. hot bread. 2 cents. Then another. Fish. Fresh fish. Still good. The shouting overlaps, layers on top of itself, until it becomes something like a constant roar. No single voice stands out. They all blend together, a chorus of survival. You keep moving. There are no sidewalks here. Not really. Just a suggestion of space along the edges, quickly overtaken by carts, goods, and people who need somewhere to stand. Everything shares the same ground. People, horses, wagons, waste. You step over something without looking too closely. Your foot lands in a patch of mud that isn't entirely mud. You don't react. There's no point. A horse stands ahead, sides heaving slightly. Foam gathers at its mouth. Its ribs are visible beneath its skin, every breath an effort. Beside it, a man loads crates onto a wagon, moving quickly, efficiently. He doesn't look at the animal. He doesn't have time to care. The horse shifts unsteady. You've seen what happens when they collapse. The street doesn't stop. Nothing stops. You angle your body, slipping past before it becomes your problem. A group of children dart through the crowd, laughing, shouting, chasing something you can't see. One of them bumps into you, barely slowing. Watch it. Someone yells behind you. The child is already gone. You shake your head slightly and keep walking. That's another thing you've learned. Children here don't move like children. They move like the city, fast, alert, always aware of space, of opportunity, of danger. They have to. You turn onto a narrower street, one that funnels the crowd even tighter. The noise doesn't lessen. It concentrates. Here the buildings lean closer together, as if pressing in. Windows above overflow with life. Faces appear briefly, then disappear. Voices drift down, mixing with the chaos below. Laundry hangs overhead, strung from building to building. Shirts, dresses, worn fabric of every kind, swaying slightly in the stagnant air. You pass beneath it, the cloth brushing lightly against your head. No one looks up. A man approaches you from the opposite direction, moving against the flow. That alone marks him as someone to notice. He walks with purpose, shoulders squared, eyes scanning faces. You lower your gaze slightly, not enough to seem afraid, just enough to avoid attention. He passes. Nothing happens. But you feel the tension linger for a moment longer than necessary. You exhale slowly. Keep moving. Ahead, the street opens just enough to reveal a small market forming. Carts arranged in loose lines, goods displayed in whatever way the owner thinks will catch an eye. You slow slightly. Not because you want to, because the crowd forces you to. A woman stands behind a cart of onions, her hands moving quickly as she arranges them into neat piles. She watches people as they pass, her eyes sharp, calculating. She spots you. "Good onions cheap," she calls out, leaning forward slightly. You shake your head before she can say more. She's already turned to the next person. No time wasted. A man beside her sells something else. Used clothes by the look of it. Shirts, jackets, trousers, all hanging loosely from a wooden frame. "Strong cloth," he shouts. "Better than new." You glance at one of the shirts as you pass. It might be true, or it might not. Either way, you keep walking. Money is too tight for guesses. The ground beneath your feet changes slightly. More stone here, less dirt. It's uneven, worn down by years of use. Wheels have carved faint grooves into it. You adjust your step without thinking. Another learned habit. The further you go, the more the city reveals its rhythm. It's not random. It only feels that way at first. There are patterns, certain corners where vendors gather, certain streets where carts move faster, places where the crowd thickens, then thins again. You're starting to see it, starting to understand. A man stumbles out of a doorway to your left. His clothes are disheveled, his movements slow and uncertain. The smell reaches you before he does. Alcohol. Strong. He leans against the wall, blinking into the light. No one stops. No one helps. You don't either. Not because you don't notice, because you've learned what happens when you involve yourself in things that don't concern you. You pass him. Another rule. Farther ahead, the noise shifts slightly. Less shouting. More steady movement. You recognize it before you see it. Work. The kind that doesn't need to call out. The kind that pulls people in. You turn another corner, and there it is. A row of buildings, their doors open, revealing dim interiors filled with motion. Figures bent over tables, hands moving quickly. Fabric, tools, repetition, workshops. You slow just for a second, not stopping, just enough to look. Inside one of them, a man lifts a heavy iron, pressing it down onto fabric with practiced precision. Steam rises faintly. His movements are careful, controlled. He doesn't look up. None of them do. There's no need. They already know you're there. They feel it in the shift of the air, the movement of bodies outside. You step past the doorway, then another, then another. Each one the same in structure, different only in detail. Different faces, same work, same rhythm. This is where the noise of the street transforms into something else. Not quieter, just focused. The shouting fades behind you, replaced by the steady sounds of labor, fabric shifting, tools striking lightly, voices lower, more contained. You slow your pace, not because you're unsure, because you've arrived. You stop just outside one of the open doors. Inside, the air looks even thicker than the street. Heat trapped between walls rising slowly, endlessly. The smell is different here. Less rot, more sweat, more effort. You stand there for a moment. Just a moment. Then you step inside. The noise of the street doesn't disappear. It lingers behind you, seeping in through the doorway. But it changes, becomes background, something constant, something expected. You take another breath. The air is heavier here, but you stay. Because this is where your day truly begins. The air inside is worse than the street. It doesn't move. It sits, heavy, unmoving, filled with heat that has nowhere to go. You feel it the moment you step fully inside, like walking into a closed oven that has been left burning all night. The light is dim. 2 windows at the front, already streaked with grime, let in just enough to see shapes, not details. Everything else is shadow and motion. Men are already working. No one greets you. No one needs to. You take your place without being told. That's how it works here. You know where you belong. A long wooden table runs down the center of the room. Fabric is spread across it. Dark wool, rough to the touch, cut into shapes that only make sense when someone skilled handles them. At the far end, a man stands over the table, scissors in hand. He doesn't measure. He doesn't pause. He cuts. The blades move with a steady rhythm, slicing through layers of cloth, with a sound that's almost clean, almost satisfying. His eyes don't leave the fabric. They don't need to. He already knows where every line should be. That's skill. That's experience. You glance once, then look away. You're not there yet. Not even close. Your place is near the back, a narrow station just wide enough for you to stand without turning too much. A wooden board sits at waist height. On it, a garment half-finished waiting. Beside it, the iron. It's heavier than it looks. You know that now. You reach for it carefully. Even cold, it carries weight. Solid. Unforgiving. The kind of tool that doesn't forgive mistakes. You open the small chamber at the back, feeding in pieces of coal. Black dust clings to your fingers, immediately working into the cracks of your skin. You strike a match. The flame catches slowly, then steadily. You close the chamber, set the iron down, and wait. Around you, the room continues without pause. A sewing machine rattles near the wall, its rhythm fast, relentless. The man working it leans forward, shoulders hunched, eyes fixed on the needle as it drives through fabric again and again and again. Across from him, another worker bends over a different task, hands moving in small, precise motions, stitching, adjusting, correcting. No one speaks much. When they do, it's short, direct. There's no time for more. You test the iron. A drop of moisture hits the metal and vanishes instantly, ready. You lift it. The weight settles into your arm, familiar now, but never easy. You bring it down slowly onto the fabric, pressing just enough. Not too much. Never too much. You learn that the hard way. The first time you burned through a coat, you thought it was over. Thought you'd be thrown out, replaced by someone who didn't make mistakes. But that didn't happen. Not here. Not with him. You glance up briefly. The man at the cutting table hasn't stopped moving. He hasn't looked at you. But you know he notices everything. Always. You return your focus to the fabric. Press. Lift. Shift. Press again. The rhythm builds quickly. Not fast, not yet, but steady. Your arm adjusts your grip, shifts your body, finding the smallest ways to conserve energy. Because this doesn't stop. Not for hours. The heat builds. Not just from the iron. From everything. bodies, movement, coal burning in multiple stations. The room traps it all, holds. It feeds it back to you. Sweat forms quickly running down your neck, your back soaking into your shirt. The fabric sticks to your skin, but you don't stop. You can't. A voice cuts through the noise. You're slow. It's not loud. It doesn't need to be. You glance up. He's there now. Closer than before. You didn't see him move. You think the coats finish themselves, he says, not looking at your face, only at your hands. No, you answer. You don't add anything else. You've learned not to. He watches for a second longer. Your hands adjust, moving quicker, more precise. Then he nods once. Not approval. Not quite. But not disapproval either. He moves away. You exhale, but only slightly. No time to relax. You press again and again. Time moves differently here. You don't count minutes. You count motions. Press. Lift. Shift. Press. The sounds of the room blend together. The machine. The scissors. The low voices. The constant quiet strain of effort. At some point, someone opens the door. Fresh air tries to push in. It fails. The street noise spills inside instead. Louder now, more chaotic. For a moment, it feels like two worlds colliding. Then the door closes, and you're back inside. Someone nearby coughs. Not once, repeatedly. It echoes in the room, sharp and dry. No one reacts. They don't stop. You don't either. You keep working. Because stopping means falling behind. And falling behind means losing something you can't afford to lose. Your place, your work, your chance. You press harder, then correct yourself. Too much pressure. You ease back. Find the balance again. That's the hardest part. Not the weight, not the heat, the control. You feel it when you get it right. The fabric settles. The seam lies flat, clean, as if it was always meant to be that way. For a second, just a second, there's something like satisfaction. Then it's gone, replaced by the next piece, the next motion, the next demand. Hours pass. You know because the light shifts slightly, turning more grey than pale. Not brighter, just different. Your arm aches. Your back tightens. Your fingers feel slower, heavier. But your movements improve. Small adjustments. Better timing. Cleaner pressure. You're learning, even if no one says it, even if no one needs to. Across the room, the man at the cutting table finally pauses. Just for a moment. He sets the scissors down, rolls his shoulders once, then looks over the room. His eyes pass over each worker, each station. When they reach you, they stop. Only for a second. Then he nods. It's small, barely noticeable, But you see it, and you understand. You're not just surviving here anymore. You're becoming part of it. The rhythm, the work, the city. Outside, the noise continues. Inside, so do you. And neither one is stopping anytime soon. By the time you step back out into the street, the light has changed again. Not brighter, just harsher. The kind of light that presses down instead of lifting up thick with heat and smoke, and everything the city has already thrown into the air since morning. You blink once, adjusting. The noise rushes back immediately. It never really left. But inside the shop, it was distant, contained. Out here, it's alive again. Louder, closer, pushing in from every direction. You take a breath. It doesn't help much, but it's enough. The errand is simple. That's what he told you. Take the finished pieces uptown. Deliver them. Collect payment. Come back. Simple. But nothing in this city is ever just that. You tuck the bundle tighter under your arm. It's wrapped in rough paper, tied with string. Light enough to carry, heavy enough to matter. You start walking. The street is worse now than it was in the morning. More people, more carts, more urgency. The day is in full motion, and everyone is trying to take something from it before it ends. You move with purpose. That matters. People notice hesitation. They notice weakness. So you don't give them either. You pass the same corners, but they look different now. Busier, louder. A vendor arguing with a customer. A man dragging a crate through the mud. A child crying somewhere you can't see. The city doesn't slow down. It builds. Block by block. Step by step. You turn west. That's when things begin to change. It's subtle at first. The street widens slightly. Not much, but enough that you notice the difference in how people move. There's more space between bodies. Less pushing. Less shouting. The smell shifts too. Still there. Still heavy. But not as sharp. Not as immediate. You keep walking. Another block. Then another. The buildings begin to change. They're still tall, still crowded. But there's something different about them. The windows are cleaner. The walls less worn. The doors heavier, more solid. You slow slightly. Not on purpose. It just happens. You're not used to this part. You feel it, the way the city rearranges itself around you. People look different here. Not entirely, but enough. Their clothes are cleaner, better fitted. Their movements less frantic, more controlled. They don't shout to be heard. They don't need to. They expect to be listened to. You adjust your grip on the package. Keep walking. Don't stare. That's another rule. You pass a storefront with large glass windows. Inside, clothes are displayed. Not piled. Not hung unevenly. Arranged. Carefully, each piece spaced just enough to be seen on its own. You glance for a moment. The fabric looks smoother, finer. The kind of cloth that doesn't wear down quickly. The kind that doesn't carry the weight of constant use. You move on. A carriage rolls past you. Not a wagon, not a cart. A carriage. Polished wood. Clean wheels. A horse that doesn't look like it's about to collapse. Its coat shines, its movements controlled, guided easily by the driver. Inside, someone sits. You don't look too closely. You don't need to. You already understand. Two cities. Same place. Different worlds. You cross another street. The ground beneath your feet feels more even here. Less mud. More stone. Properly laid, or at least closer to it. You almost forget to watch where you step. Almost. You correct yourself. Keep moving. Always. The buildings rise higher now. Not because they're taller, because they're spaced differently. There's room to see them, room to look up. And for the first time that day you do, just for a second. The sky opens above you, wider than anything you've seen since you stepped out that morning. Pale, washed out, but there. Not completely blocked by walls and wires and hanging cloth. It feels strange. You lower your gaze quickly. No time for that. You have a place to reach. You find the address after another block. A building that doesn't look like the others. The door is larger, cleaner. The glass intact. No cracks, no layers of grime dulling the surface. You hesitate. Just for a second. Then you step forward. Inside, the air changes again. Cooler. Not by much, but enough that you notice. The noise drops instantly. Not silence, but controlled sound. Voices lower. Measured. Movement that doesn't collide, doesn't force its way through. You feel it immediately. You don't belong here. Not yet. But you walk forward anyway. A man stands near a counter. His clothes are clean pressed. His posture straight. He looks at you. Not unkindly, but not warmly either. Just assessing. You set the package down carefully. For delivery, you say. Your voice sounds different in here. Quieter. He nods once, already reaching for the bundle. His hands move efficiently, untying the string, opening the paper. He checks the contents quickly, fingers brushing over seams, fabric edges. He knows what he's looking for, just like your master. Just in a different way. You wait. You don't move. You don't speak. Finally, he nods again. Good work, he says, almost absent-mindedly. Not to you, to the work itself. He reaches into a drawer, pulls out money, counts it without hesitation. You watch his hands. Careful. Always careful. He sets the bills down. You count them. Once. Twice. Exactly right. You fold them, tuck them inside your coat. Close enough to feel. far enough to hide. Tell him next week, the man says. You nod, turn, leave. Outside, the noise hits you again. But something feels different now. Not the city. You. You start walking back the way you came. The same streets, the same corners. But you see them differently now. You've seen the other side, even if only for a few minutes. You know it exists. Not as a story, not as a rumor, as something real, something close enough to reach. Or maybe not. You don't know yet, but the thought stays with you. As the streets narrow again, as the noise builds again, as the smell returns heavier than before, you step back into it, back into your part of the city, back into the movement, back into the grind. But now there's something else in your mind, a small shift, a quiet understanding. This place can crush you. You've seen that, but it can also lift something, someone, if they last long enough, if they learn fast enough, if they don't break. You walk faster, the bundle gone, the money secured, the day not even halfway finished, and already the city has shown you two versions of itself. You know which one you're in, but now for the first time, you've seen the other one clearly, and you can't unsee it. By the time the light begins to fade, the city feels different. Not quieter, never quieter, but heavier. The energy shifts. What was sharp and urgent in the day becomes slower, darker. The crowds don't disappear, they change. Faces look more tired, movements less precise, voices rougher, worn down from hours of shouting, bargaining, working. You feel it in your own body. Your arms still ache from the iron, your back tight, your fingers stiff. Every step reminds you of the hours behind you and the hours still ahead tomorrow. But the day isn't finished yet. It never really is. You walk back through the streets you now know too well. The same corners, the same vendors, the same smells that seem to settle deeper into your clothes the longer you stay. A man brushes past you too close. You turn your head slightly. He's already gone. You check your pocket without thinking. Still there. Good. That instinct comes fast in this city. Faster than anything else. The sky above shifts from pale grey to something darker, though you barely see it between the buildings. What you notice instead are the lights. Not many, not enough. Gas lamps flicker to life along the streets, weak circles of yellow that barely push back the growing darkness. They don't illuminate so much as mark where you are. Beyond them, shadow. You slow your pace slightly. Not too much, just enough to stay aware. This is when things change. You hear it before you fully understand it. The tone of voices. Less business. More edge. A group of men stands at the corner ahead. Not selling anything. Not moving with purpose. Just there. Watching. You shift your path without making it obvious. A slight turn, a different angle blending back into the flow of people still moving. Don't draw attention. Another rule. You pass them. No one speaks. but you feel their eyes on you for a moment longer than necessary. Then it's gone. You keep walking. The street narrows again, and the light fades further. Here, the lamps are fewer, the shadows deeper. The buildings seem to lean closer, closing in as the day disappears. A door opens somewhere behind you. Laughter spills out. Not joyful, sharp, too loud. Then the door closes again, cutting it off abruptly. You don't turn around. A woman hurries past you, head down, clutching something tightly against her chest. Her steps are quick, uneven. She doesn't look up. You don't look at her. Everyone moves like this now. Faster. More careful. The city at night doesn't belong to the same people as the day. Or maybe it does. They just act differently. You reach into your coat slightly, pressing your hand against the folded money. Still there, still safe. You keep it there for a moment longer than needed. Then let it go. Ahead, the street dips into deeper shadow. You hesitate. Just a fraction. Then you step forward. There's no other way. The sounds shift again. Footsteps. Not yours. Behind you. You don't turn. Not yet. You keep walking. Steady. Measured. The footsteps continue. Closer now. More than one. You feel your pulse change, quickening slightly. Your body reacting before your mind fully catches up. Keep moving. Don't run. Running makes it worse. You remember that. Your grip tightens slightly at your side. The footsteps match your pace. Too close. A voice cuts through the darkness. Hey, you don't stop. You don't answer. Another voice. Stop. Closer now. You can feel them. Right behind you. You take one more step. Then another. Your mind moves quickly now. Where are the lights? Where are the people? Where is a sudden burst of noise ahead? Voices. A group. Laughter. Movement. You angle toward it instantly. Not obvious. Not desperate. Just enough. The footsteps behind you slow, then stop. You don't turn, not yet. You reach the edge of the group. A few men stand around a cart, talking loudly, arguing about something that doesn't matter to you. But it matters that they're there, that they exist. You step closer, blending in just enough to become part of something larger. You glance back. Only then. The shadows behind you are empty. Whoever was there is gone. You exhale slowly, carefully. Your body still tense, still ready. But the moment has passed. For now, you stay near the group a little longer than necessary, listening without hearing, watching without staring. Then you move again, closer to the light, closer to the parts of the street that still feel like the day. Safer. Relatively. Your steps quicken now, more certain. You know where you are again. You know the turns, the distances, the way back. The building appears ahead, not welcoming, not comforting, but familiar. You reach the door, push it open, step inside. The darkness of the hallway greets you. Thick, still, but safe. Safer than outside. You climb the stairs slower now, your legs heavier than before. Each step creaks beneath your weight, echoing faintly in the narrow space. No one speaks. Doors are closed. Life happens behind them, quiet, contained. You reach your floor, your door. You step inside. The room is as you left it, crowded, stale, warm. Someone is already lying down, staring at nothing. Another shifts slightly, making space without being asked. You sit, then lie back. The mattress gives beneath you, familiar in its discomfort. You stare at the ceiling. The day plays back in pieces. The street, the work, the other side of the city, and then the shadows, the footsteps. You close your eyes. The city doesn't stop. You can still hear it. Through the walls, through the floor. Distant, constant, alive. Out there, it continues. Without you. Without pause. But here, for now, you've made it back. Still here, still holding on. And in this place, that's enough. Sunday comes differently. You feel it before you understand it. Not because the city is quiet. It isn't. But because the rhythm shifts. There is no rush to the workshop. No iron waiting. No voice cutting through the room telling you to move faster. The weight of the day sits differently on your shoulders. Lighter, but unfamiliar. You wake the same way as always. The same room. The same smell. The same closeness of bodies and breath and heat that never quite leaves. But something is missing. The urgency. You sit up slowly. No one pushes past you. No one rushes for the door. A few are still asleep, taking what extra rest they can. Others sit quietly, staring at nothing, as if unsure what to do with the time they've been given. Time. That's the difference. You swing your legs down and stand. The floor feels the same. But you don't have to hurry. That alone feels strange. Outside, the street is still alive. Vendors still call out carts, still roll voices, still rise and fall. But there's space between it all. Just enough to notice. You step into it. The air feels slightly different today. Not cleaner. Never clean. But less rushed. Less sharp. You walk without a destination for the first time in days. Maybe longer. Your steps slow. Not forced. Natural. You don't need to push through the crowd. You don't need to keep pace with anything except yourself. That takes getting used to. You pass the usual corners, but they feel softer somehow, less aggressive. The same people, the same goods, the same noise, but without the edge that comes with necessity. People linger. They talk. They sit. You keep walking. West. You're not sure why. Maybe because yesterday you saw something different there. Maybe because part of you wants to see it again. The streets begin to widen, gradually, the same shift as before. But this time, you notice it more. You're not rushing past it. You're moving through it. You pass storefronts with large windows. Clean glass. Items displayed carefully, not piled. Not desperate. You slow slightly. Look. Really look. A suit stands upright behind the glass, shaped as if someone invisible is wearing it. The fabric is smooth. The lines precise. No frayed edges, no patches. You imagine it for a second, on you. Then you move on. The thought fades quickly. Ahead, the city opens. And then you see it. Not a building. Not a street. Something else. Space. Real space. You step forward, and the street ends not in another wall of buildings, but in something wider. A park. You hesitate at the edge. People move differently here. Slower. They walk without purpose, without urgency. Some sit on benches. Others stand in small groups, talking quietly. Children run, but not the same way as before. Not sharp, not alert. Free. You step inside. The ground beneath your feet changes. Not stone, not mud. Grass. Uneven, soft, alive. You look down for a moment just to be sure. Then back up. Trees rise around you. Tall, steady, unmoving. Their leaves shift slightly, catching what little breeze exists. You didn't notice the wind before. Now you do. It touches your face. Light. Cool. Different. You walk further in. The noise of the city fades behind you. Not gone. Never gone. But distant now, like something happening somewhere else. You find a spot near a tree and stop. Just stop. No one pushes you. No one calls out. No one demands anything. You sit. Slowly. The ground feels strange beneath you. Too soft. Too uneven. You shift once, twice, adjusting. Then stillness. You lean back slightly, resting your weight against the trunk. And for the first time in days, you breathe. Fully. The air still carries the city in it. But here it's thinner, lighter. You close your eyes. Just for a moment. The sounds change. Leaves moving. Distant voices. Laughter. Real laughter. Not sharp. Not forced. Soft. You open your eyes again. People pass in front of you. A man in clean clothes, walking beside a woman, who holds his arm lightly. They move without urgency, without watching every step, every corner. You watch them go. A child runs past, chasing something only he can see. He stumbles, falls, then laughs as he gets back up. No one yells, no one grabs him. He keeps running. You shift slightly. Something loosens in your chest. You don't know what to call it. It's not happiness, not exactly, but it's not the weight you carry every other day. You sit there longer than you expect. Time moves differently here. You don't measure it. You don't need to. At some point you lie back, just for a moment. The sky stretches above you, open, wider than anything you see from the street. Pale, endless. You stare at it. Your mind slows. The city feels far away, even though it isn't. Even though it waits just beyond the trees. You think about the workshop, the iron, the heat, the constant motion. Then you think about this, the stillness, the space, the quiet. Both exist in the same city. You sit up slowly. The feeling doesn't last forever. You know that. Nothing here does. But you've seen it now. Felt it. That matters. You stand. Brush your hands against your trousers. Look around one more time. Then you turn and walk back toward the streets. The noise grows again. The air thickens again. The buildings close in. But something stays with you. Not visible. Not something you can hold. Just a memory. Of space. Of quiet. Of something different. You step back into the flow. Back into the movement. Back into the city that never stops. But now, you know there are places where it does, even if only for a moment. The days begin to blur together, not because they are identical, but because they follow the same shape. You wake in the dark. You move through the crowd. You work until your body feels like it might give out. You return before the night fully takes hold. Then you do it again and again. At first you counted. Days, weeks, small markers of time. Anything that reminded you that things were moving forward. Now you don't. You don't need to. The city keeps count for you. You notice it in smaller ways. In how your hands move. In how your feet find their place on the street without thinking. In how your eyes read people before they speak. You step into the workshop one morning and something feels different. Not the room. That hasn't changed. Still hot. Still dim. Still filled with the same heavy air and the same constant motion. But you move differently. You take your place. Reach for the iron. Prepare it without hesitation. Your hands don't fumble anymore. They don't pause. They know. Coal, flame, wait, test, ready. You lift the iron. It still feels heavy. but it doesn't feel unfamiliar. You bring it down. Press. Lift. Shift. Press again. The rhythm comes faster now. Cleaner. You don't think through each movement anymore. You don't second guess every adjustment. Your body carries the memory for you. Across the room, someone new stands where you once did. A boy. Younger. Too thin. His movements are careful, uncertain. He watches everything, trying to understand, trying not to make a mistake. You recognize that look. You remember it. The way every sound felt louder. Every glance heavier. Every motion like it might be wrong. He glances toward you, just for a second. You don't say anything. But you don't look away immediately either. Then you return to your work. He'll learn. Or he won't. That's how it works here. The man at the cutting table moves as always. Precise. Controlled. Efficient. But today, when he passes behind you, he doesn't speak. He watches. For a moment longer than usual. Your hands continue. Press. Lift. Shift. You don't speed up. You don't slow down. You keep the rhythm. After a second, he nods. It's small. Almost nothing. But it's there. And this time, you understand it fully. You've earned something. Not comfort. Not safety. But recognition. And in this place, that matters. The day moves forward. Work builds. Orders come in are cut, sewn, pressed, prepared. The cycle continues, pulling everyone along with it. At some point, he calls your name. Not loudly, just enough. You look up. Delivery, he says, gesturing toward a bundle already wrapped. You nod. Take it. No instructions. No warnings. He doesn't need to give them anymore. You know what to do. Outside, the street meets you again. The same noise. The same chaos. But it doesn't hit you the same way. You step into it without hesitation. Your path forms naturally. You don't think about each turn. You don't analyze every movement. You just move. Left, forward, around a cart, between two men arguing, past a wagon. You adjust without breaking stride. That's new. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just something you didn't notice before. A hand brushes too close to your coat. You shift instantly, not reacting. Just adjusting. The hand disappears. You don't check your pocket. You don't need to. You already know. Still there. Always. You keep walking. The streets change as you move. Narrow, wide, crowded, less crowded. You pass the same storefronts, the same faces. Some you recognize now, not by name, by presence. They recognize you too, not as a person, as part of the movement. That's enough. You reach your destination. The building feels less foreign now. Still different. Still cleaner. But not unfamiliar. You step inside. Deliver the bundle. Collect the payment. Count it. Twice. Fold it. Secure it. Routine. Efficient. Expected. You leave without lingering. Back into the street. Back into the flow. On the way back, you pass something you hadn't noticed before. Or maybe you had. But now you see it clearly. A man stands at the edge of the street. Not working. Not moving. Just standing. His clothes hang loose. His posture slack. His eyes unfocused, fixed on something that isn't there. People move around him, through him, ignoring him. You slow slightly, just enough to look. He doesn't react, doesn't see you, doesn't see anything. For a moment you wonder how long he's been standing there. Then you move on, because you already know the answer. Too long. The city doesn't stop for anyone. Not for him. Not for you. Back at the workshop, the air feels heavier than before. Or maybe you're just more aware of it now. You hand over the money. He counts it, nods. Nothing more. But that's enough. You return to your station. The iron is waiting. Still hot. Still heavy. Still demanding. You pick it up. Press. Lift. Shift. The rhythm returns instantly. But now something else sits beneath it. A quiet understanding. This place is changing you. Not all at once, not in ways anyone else would notice, but in small pieces. Your hands, your eyes, your instincts, the way you move, the way you think. The boy who stepped into this city, he's still there, somewhere. But he isn't the one pressing the iron now. He isn't the one walking these streets without hesitation. He isn't the one who knows when to look, when to move, when to disappear. You are. The day ends the same way it always does. The light fades. The streets darken. The air cools just slightly. You step outside again. The city waits. Unchanged. Unforgiving. Alive. You walk through it. Not as a stranger. Not anymore. As part of it. Still learning. Still adapting. Still holding on. But no longer lost. And that is something you didn't have before. The nights grow colder. Not all at once, not enough to shock you, but enough that you notice it when you wake. The air in the room feels thinner, now sharper. The heat that once pressed against your skin has begun to fade, replaced by something else. A chill that settles into the wood, into the walls, into the spaces between bodies. You pull your coat closer before you even sit up. Around you, the others shift. Less movement now. Less restless turning. People stay still longer, holding on to whatever warmth they can find. Breathing slower, conserving energy without thinking about it. You sit up carefully. The room looks the same. It always does. But it feels different. Time has moved. You stand pulling your clothes on with practiced ease. Your fingers move quickly now, without hesitation, without searching for each button or fold. Another small change. Outside, the street greets you again. It always does. But the air hits your face differently now. Cooler. Cleaner almost. Not truly clean. Never that. But the sharpness of it cuts through the usual heaviness. You take a breath deeper than usual and feel it settle in your chest. People move faster in the cold. You notice that immediately. Less lingering, less talking. More purpose in every step. The city doesn't slow for the season. It adjusts. Just like everyone in it. You step into the flow. Your body follows without effort. Turn, step, shift, avoid. It's all there now, built into you. You don't think about it. You just move. The workshop waits. It always does. You enter, and the heat returns instantly, trapped inside like it never left. The contrast makes your skin tighten for a moment, then relax as your body adjusts. Your station is the same. Your iron, your work. You take your place. No hesitation. Coal, flame. Wait, test, press. The rhythm comes easily now. Cleaner than before. Faster, but not rushed. Controlled. Across the room, the younger boy struggles again. His movement still uncertain, still searching for balance between too much and too little. You watch him for a moment. Then you speak. Not so hard. Your voice cuts through just enough. He looks at you, confused. You gesture slightly with your hand. Press. Then lift. Don't hold it. He nods quickly. Tries again. Better. Not right, but better. You turn back to your own work. No more words. That's enough. That's how it's done. The day continues. Work builds. The rhythm holds. But something else has changed. You feel it. In the way the others move around you. In the space you occupy. You're no longer just another pair of hands. Not invisible. Not unnoticed. You've become part of the structure. Not at the top. Not even close. But not at the bottom anymore. That matters. More than you expected. Later, you're sent out again. Another delivery. Another walk through the streets. But this time, you don't see the city the same way. The chaos is still there. The noise, the smell, the pressure of bodies and movement. But it doesn't overwhelm you. It doesn't press in the same way. You move through it. Not against it. With it. You pass the same corners. The same vendors. The same narrow streets that once felt like they might swallow you whole. Now they feel known. Not safe. Never safe, but familiar. And that changes everything. You reach a crossing and pause, not because you have to, because you choose to. A carriage passes, a cart, a group of people. You wait, then step forward. No rush, no panic, just timing, just awareness. You continue. The city stretches ahead, endless, unchanging, always moving. But you're not the same person who first stepped into it. Not anymore. You know where to go. You know what to avoid. You know how to survive. And survival here, it isn't small. It isn't simple. It's everything. By the time you return, the light is fading again. The sky, what little you can see of it, turns from pale grey to something deeper. The lamps flicker on. The shadows grow. You walk back toward the building. The same door. The same stairs. The same narrow hallway that once felt like it might close in around you. Now it just exists. You climb, step by step, your body tired, but steady. You enter the room. The others are there, some lying down, some sitting quietly. The air is still thick, still shared, still filled with everything that makes this place what it is. You take your place, sit, then lie back. The mattress gives beneath you. Familiar. You stare at the ceiling. The day settles in your body. The work, the streets, the small moments that don't seem like much on their own. But together, they form something. You think about when you first arrived, how the city felt. Too loud, too close, too much. Now, it's still all of those things, but it no longer feels impossible. You close your eyes. The sounds of the city drift through the walls. Distant, constant, unending. Somewhere out there, it continues. Without pause. Without rest. And tomorrow, you will step into it again. Not as a stranger. Not as someone lost. But as someone who understands just enough to keep going. Just enough to hold on. Just enough to stay. And here, in this place, that is what matters most.